7 ways your aesthetic home is stressing your cat. Your home looks like a Pinterest board to you, but to your cat, it can feel like a low-level hostage maze. You see clean lines, open space, nice light. Your cat sees exposed crossings, fake cover-blocked exits, and a litter box that could turn into a jump scare halfway through the mission. That's why cats get called dramatic, naughty, picky, even clingy, when a lot of the problem is the layout frying their nerves all day. Even scratching the side of your sleek sofa might not be rebellion. In a room full of glass, metal, and smooth surfaces, that sofa may be the only thing that feels grippy and solid. So I'm going to show you 7 signs your decor is stressing your cat. Stick around for sign 7, because it's the one that turns a chill cat into a midnight zoomie monster. But first, start with the sign people miss, because it just looks like the cat is being weird. Sign 1 and sign 2, exposed territory and fake cover. One sign is simple. Your cat won't cross a room unless they have to, and when they do, it's that awkward edge-hugging route along the wall, under a chair, behind a table leg. Then boom, a full panic sprint across the hardwood. If you filmed it from cat level, it wouldn't look relaxed. It would look like a tiny security officer scanning exits, checking the floor, and making a bad run across an active run. A lot of modern rooms do this by accident. Big polished floors, no runners, wide gaps between furniture, and nowhere to pause halfway means your cat has no traction and no cover. That crouch pause sprint pattern is your slipometer moment, because they're checking grip and sightlines before their paws betray them. Then there's the fake cover problem. Humans think anything in a room counts as shelter, but a glass coffee table doesn't feel protective to a cat. An acrylic chair doesn't break up sightline, and open base furniture may look cool while doing nothing to block or support the body. So your living room looks expensive, and your cat reads it like a very strict museum. The next sign shows up when your cat keeps choosing weird hideouts instead of the beautiful room you worked so hard on. Under the bed, behind the curtain, in the bathroom, wedged between the laundry basket and the wall. People call this quirky, but often the main room just feels too open and too slick to relax in. So go straight to the easy fix. Take a blanket that your cat already sleeps on and drape it over the chair they avoid, or place it on the bench that always stays empty. That scent swap tells the cat, "This area belongs to me too." Cats map space with scent too. Hard, cold surfaces don't hold familiar smells the way fabric, cardboard, and texture do. A super minimal room can end up smelling unclaimed, which keeps the cat from settling. Glossy finishes can keep the stress going. Mirrors, shiny floors, reflective cabinet panels, even dark TV screens can throw odd reflections, so some cats treat that like a ghost cat with terrible boundaries. Try simple changes first: rug paths, a fabric throw, a side table with solid sides, a cozy corner that smells like your cat instead of a hotel lobby. Once the room stops feeling like a skating event, signs 3 and 4 usually show up in the traffic flow as bottlenecks, traps, and litter box politics. Now look for the spots where your cat gets weird around doorways, hallways, or the gap between two pieces of furniture. Maybe one cat parks there like a tiny furry bouncer, or your cat swats as another cat walks past, freezes, or turns a normal pass-by into a standoff. That isn't a personality problem. It's a map problem. A bottleneck forms when furniture narrows the movement so much that one cat can control the route without even touching. Statement chairs, benches, stools, console tables, and narrow cut-throughs can all do this. The two-exit rule is easy if there's only one way out. It's a trap, because one cat can end up running customs for the whole room. In multi-cat homes, a single-entry room can become territory drama without any loud fight at all. One cat sits in the opening, the other reads the message. Now the room belongs to whoever claimed the checkpoint. Even in a one-cat home, dead ends raise tension because guests, kids, vacuums, dropped pans, and sudden footsteps can remove the only escape route in a second. The litter box problem gets very real because humans love hiding boxes in places that feel private to us, not our cats. Inside cabinets, next to the washer, beside the furnace, you see discretion, but your cat sees a horror movie set. If the box has one narrow entrance, surprise noise, trap smells, and people walking past, bathroom time stops feeling routine and starts feeling risky. Or starts using the bath mat instead, isn't acting spiteful. The litter box is just too scary. The scariest version is the appliance jump scare. Imagine you're mid-poop and the water heater wakes up behind you. Fixes are boring, but they work. Give the box a quiet spot with a wide approach and two-way access. And stop decorating the route into an obstacle course. Be honest, where is your cat's litter box right now? Is it in a horror movie set in a laundry room? Tell me the weirdest place you've tucked a box in the comments. The next stress trigger isn't something you added. It's the space you left empty on your walls. Cats don't just live across your home, they live up it. Vertical failure, blocked views, territorial reset. Sign 5 is sneaky. Your cat still looks functional, eating, napping, and sitting on the back of the couch. But then they get weirdly bossy when someone walks past. Or they twitch every time the dog moves. Or they stare at the room like a CEO in crisis because the layout works for humans in 2D and fails your cat in 3D. Cats don't read a room like a magazine spread. They read routes, height, and backup plans. So when the walls do nothing and the furniture stays low, their safe territory shrinks fast. Every guest, kid, vacuum, and grocery bag now moves through the same ground-level lane. That's why vertical routes change behavior so much. A shelf, a cat step, a sturdy bookcase, even a path from sofa to console to window perch can turn a tense room into one your cat can actually travel through. If your cat can't cross the room without touching the floor, your house is basically half off to them. You're paying for 1,000 square feet, and your cat is living in 500. You call it an open concept. Your cat calls it no witness protection. Sign 6 shows up at the windows. Maybe your cat keeps peeking through a gap in the curtain. then whipping around and smacking another cat. Maybe they camp at a blocked sill, chirp at birds, then spend the next hour acting bored and overcaffeinated. That usually means the room is cutting them off from one of their best pieces of cat TV. Window access isn't just entertainment. It gives cats surveillance, sunlight, and a way to track movement outside, before that movement feels like a mystery inside the house. Tall decor blocks the view, heavy drapes stay closed all day, or the sill turns into a plant storage unit. You take away a clean way for the cat to process the world. Here's a better approach. Give them a stable perch, a clear line to the window, and some side cover nearby, so they don't feel parked on a stage in the middle of the room. Then sign 7, which is the one people often call cute or random. The whole mood of the cat shifts at certain times of day. Evening zoomies get sharper. Clinginess spikes. Random hiding returns. A cat who looked fine at noon turns jumpy at dusk when everyone comes home. The lights change, the hallway fills up, and all the little design problems stack on top of each other. That's architectural stress load, repeated friction in movement, scent, sight, and escape. So do a home audit at the cat level. Follow the path from sleep spots to food, water, litter, windows, high perches, and hiding places. If you did a cat scan over the room, the safe zones would show up in green, and the slick crossings, dead ends, noise traps, and blocked views would glow red. Check for dead ends. Check for single resource choke points. Check for areas where a cat has to choose between exposure and getting where they need to go. Pull a sofa a few inches from the wall for a hidden highway. Open a second path around a chair. Add a washable runner, a textured throw, a wood piece, and an enclosed bed with side exits. In multi-cat homes, spread the good stuff out. In one-cat homes, remember that the pressure can still come from humans, appliances, and outdoor animals. When the layout finally works, cats move more slowly, loaf in open areas, groom more, and stop looking like they're personally auditing the building for code violations. A calm cat needs roots they can trust, places that feel solid, scent that sticks, and more than one way out when life gets noisy. Pick one room today and trace it at your cat's level. From the floor to the wall to the window to the litter box. Then change one thing. If you do nothing else today, pull your sofa 4 inches away from the wall to give your cat a private VIP hallway. Behavior often softens after the map changes, because the nervous system settles before the attitude does. Your cat doesn't need a decorative ladder. They need a home that stops prank calling their nerves. Now that the floor plan is fixed, check out my next video so that your cat doesn't evict you next Tuesday.